Well, welcome, guys. Welcome to the YouTube Updates and More webinar. I'm really excited to do this webinar because I haven't done a webinar in about 4 or 5 months. So if it crashes and burns, you know why. But over that time, I've been working on some projects, working on other products, and working on and also learning a lot. I learned a ton about YouTube and some other video marketing tools that I think you guys are going to be interested in. So that's why I wanted to do this webinar. Also, one of the last webinars I did in the past, I had a I had a comment that said, "Is this going to be one of those 2.5 hour long webinars?" And at the time, yes, it was. Um, and so I kind of got the impression that we needed to change things up a bit. So I'm not going to gab that much tonight. I want to just give you some good information. Hopefully, well, if you know it, that's great. Hopefully, you do learn something. I think you guys will. And then I'm going to open it up to the floor, to the Q&A. And if you read my emails, which I think you guys did, you will know that I was going to sell you guys a product, but I have decided to just give it to you guys for free. And I'm going to show you how to get that. No cost to you, no free trial, nothing like that. I'm just going to give it to you guys because you've been around for a while, and I haven't really given you anything. I've sent you a couple emails, but I want to give you more. So here we go. Thank you for. Okay, guys. So let's just jump right in. Let's get right into it. I'm going to talk about a couple updates. I'm going to talk about a couple mistakes. Well, I'm going to talk about one big mistake, and then I'm going to talk about some big news that I think you guys are going to be really interested in. I know I was interested in it. About update number 1, and that's video length. I get this question a lot, and the answer changes a lot. Everybody asks, how long should my videos be? When I first started, it was 2.5 to 3 minutes. Bob, you remember that? But now it's down to 1 to 2 minutes. I remember I thought I was pushing it, telling people 2 minutes, but now it's 1 to 2 minutes. Get in, get out. And really, it's really not that hard to do that. So you guys shouldn't have any difficulty introducing yourself, providing some sort of information and a call to action, all within about a minute and a half. And what's nice about that is you can crank these videos out. We'll get into more information about that, but write this down that your video should only be about 1 to 2 minutes now. Welcome videos could be a little bit longer. They have changed as well too. I wasn't going to talk about it in this webinar, but if somebody reminds me in the Q&A about welcome videos and what we should do with those, I'll answer your question. I'll tell you what I was going to get into. Okay. So what does this mean? What does this mean that videos are shorter now? Well, first off, we have a couple things. Don't put annotations at the end. I'm going to get into more information about that in just a second, especially about annotations, but also where to put them. But I want to look at number 2. Provide a teaser in the beginning of your video. That means whoever's on screen, whoever's doing the talking, whoever's speaking, is going to say something along the lines of the example that I have below. Hi, I'm Mark, and in a minute, I'm going to show you how to get a free 90-page ebook. But first, I want to talk to you about YouTube marketing. One tip for YouTube marketing is to make sure that your videos are optimized for the search engines. Now, how would you like to get that 90-page ebook? Check out my site, blah, blah, blah.com. So you see what I did there? What I'm doing is I'm referencing the call to action that I'm going to give them later. I'm telling them, hey, I'm going to give you something free in a second if you just sit tight. But remember that attention span, as you can see that by the video length, it's shorter now, that you need to get in and get out. Don't hem and haw, and don't do what I'm doing and kind of blabbering a little bit. Just get to the point and then tell them exactly how to get that freebie, whatever it is. Okay. Now let's talk about number 1, where I mentioned don't put annotations at the end of the video. Well, that means we used to tell people to insert annotations at the end of the video, because you'd say at the end of the video, you'd wrap it up. You would say, check out my site, also subscribe, or we wouldn't even mention it in the video. We'd just have a subscribe link show up, hopefully as a secondhand thought. If people don't want to check out the site, they will at least subscribe. Well, there's a couple things here that can you share this presentation with us, Farouk? Frick, can you see this? Please tell me you can see the screen, Farouk. Are you just listening, or can you see the screen? I know I'm showing the screen. Yes, I can. Okay, do you want the slides, Farouk? This is a PDF. I can send you the whole PDF. Oh, awesome. Okay. Yes, good question. Yes, if anybody wants the PDF, I'll provide you. I'll send you the link. Okay, cool. Great. Don't put annotations at the end of the video. Now, we also said that the subscribe annotation was a second thought. That is no longer true. There are people that their sole goal is to get more subscribers. That's fine. You might want to do that. You might not. That's up to you. That's up to your business. We can discuss that in more detail later on too. So what we're saying now is we want annotations in either the beginning, within the first 10 seconds, or the middle. And also, if you're going to put them in the beginning or the middle, don't leave them on the screen too long, because if you leave them on the screen too long, they start to become annoying and people will turn them off. What that means is if they turn the first one off, if they turn off annotations because of the first one, if you have a second or third one later on in their video, they will never ever see it because they turned it off. Timothy asked the question, what is an annotation? I'll show you an example in a minute. What it is a YouTube video. You can have a clickable area. You can put a button on top of the video that clicks, and people can click it. When they click it, it can send them to your YouTube channel. It can send them to another video. It can send them to Google Plus page. It can send them to a lot of different things, and I'm actually going to get into that more too. I'll show you a picture in a second, Timothy, of exactly what I mean by annotations. You really should be using annotations if you're going to be using YouTube for marketing. It's like takes all of your videos to a whole nother level. It adds interactivity. It helps add to the social aspect of things, and it actually helps promote you, your products, and your website. And I'll show you a little bit later how it'll do that even more. So what we're saying is annotations show up during the video. You get to decide where in the video, in the first second, in the first 10 minutes, you get to decide where in the video this button will pop up on the screen. Rule of thumb used to be that we would put this an annotation to subscribe to a YouTube channel. We would put that at the end of the video. But now that the attention span is getting shorter, it doesn't hurt to actually put it either in the beginning, the first 10 seconds, or somewhere in the middle. And you can also, it doesn't hurt to have more than one. You can still have the annotation at the end, but spruce it up a little bit and put one at the beginning so it catches them. And leave it up for maybe 3 to 5 seconds. Don't leave it up for 10 seconds. Don't leave it up the whole time, especially if it gets in the way. That's another thing that I didn't really mention here, but you should write this down too. You need to pay attention to where on the screen. You can put it in the upper left corner. You can put it directly in the middle. You can put it down in the bottom right. You need to pay attention to where on the screen you actually put the annotation. For one reason, sometimes if you have ads, the ad will pop up and it can cover up the annotation. So that doesn't do you any good. Another problem that occurs is if you put the annotation somewhere and then in the video there's a cut or another shot shows up and that annotation is blocking something, well, that immediately is annoying to the viewer, and so they're going to turn their annotations off. Well, that kills all of the annotations for that video. It still doesn't hurt your video because your content should be good enough to get them to do whatever you want them to do. That usually is get them to your site, or get them to sign up for something, or just basically get them to watch another video at the very least. So I'm going to show you a little bit more how we can do that even better, and that's with annotations. If you have more questions about annotations, Timothy, when we do the Q&A, throw them in there, and also I'll show you. I'll talk to you about how I'll talk with you one-on-one if you need help. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to keep on going here. Update number 2, associated website. This is a very, very, very big deal. I've even put this in an email. So if you guys are on my newsletter list, which I believe you have because you heard about the webinar, I sent an email out about this too. Associated websites are such a big deal. What are associated websites? An associated website it's a special type of annotation. It provides partners a way to link to their associated websites directly from their videos. This is on YouTube, okay? Let me break this down. What does this mean? Associated website. First off, associated website is your website. On your YouTube channel, you can now tell YouTube, hey, this is my website. And it will link that channel to that website. It doesn't hurt your website whatsoever, but it tells YouTube this is the official website of this channel. This is a big deal. This helps you with YouTube. It helps you with search with Google. Okay. On top of that, you now enable a new feature in YouTube. And this new feature is a special annotation that you can put on your videos that will click. Then when people click on it, it goes to your website. It goes to whatever you associated the website to the YouTube channel. Okay. It might sound a little bit confusing, so I'm just gonna, if you please ask me any question. If anything doesn't sound legit or just sounds a little confusing, I'm gonna explain it again. But an associated website is you tell YouTube when you're logged into your channel, you say this channel is related to this site. It's promoting for this site, or it has to do with this site. And what that does is, again, it gives you an annotation that it means it's when people click it, it leaves YouTube. Now, this is a big deal. YouTube doesn't want you to leave. YouTube only provides you very few places that you can put a clickable link that will leave YouTube. There's only 3 places, really. It's in your channel, it's in your description of each video, and it's in associated website now. So you're shooting yourself in the foot. You only have 2 options. And these 2 options, one is pretty good because you can put it in every video, but one you only put on your channel. If you open up associated website, that's another option that you can put on every single video. It's kind of a big deal. So associated website, you should get that. Now, let me show you an example of what it looks like. And here you go, Timothy. Here's a picture of what an annotation looks like. Here's an annotation, this little yellow box. And these are corners. I can actually choose the size of this box. I can choose the size of this text. Of course, I can choose what the text says. And this little arrow that points up to the right means it's a link. It means it's clickable. So when people watch my video, this thing will show up on top of it. It's an annotation. It's not edited in. It's already in YouTube. When your video is already in YouTube, you can decide if you want annotations or not. Now, I just simply put the URL. And so that helps show my URL, and hopefully if somebody clicks it, they know where they're going. But you don't have to just put the URL. You could put online business tips. Click here for more marketing tips. Click here to learn how to grow tomatoes in the desert. It can really be anything. And when they click it, it's going to go to the site that you associated with that channel. Another big deal with associated websites is that now, I just learned this, it's new to me, that you can have more than one associated website. That's a really big deal. Why? Because you could create a bunch of videos that talk about one specific product and put an associated website link or an annotation to that sales letter. If you associated the sales letter page to the YouTube channel as well, then you can use that link for just the sales letter and video and product YouTube videos. And then you can use your other regular URL for everything that's not just related to the product. So that's a big deal. You can now have more than one associated website. And I'm excited because I haven't even tested that out myself, but I just learned about it. So again, if you have more questions about annotations, I know a lot of people have asked me about annotations, so I want to kind of clear it up. They're really pretty simple. So if you need help, let me know. Okay, now let's talk about the associated website and what do you need to qualify. Not everybody gets this feature. You need to have a couple things in place first. First off, your account needs to be verified. That's a fairly simple one-step process. You need to be logged into YouTube. You can verify your account in youtube.com verify. All it does is I can walk you through the steps. It's a little long on the webinar, but it's fairly straightforward. They make it easy for you. But what they do is they want to verify a phone number to the YouTube account. And they will ask you, what is your cell phone number? We will send you back a text message or a recording. And the recording has a little code, it's a little number, about 6 digits. And you put the code in a box. It says, enter the code when you hear it. Once you enter that code, you click verify, you're done. If you need help with that, I can walk you through it, but it was a little bit, I don't want everybody to go verify their site right now on the webinar, so I didn't show all the steps. So you do need to do that if you want to qualify for associated website. I think you should verify it anyway, because any verified YouTube channel, even if you don't want to use the associated website annotations, any verified channel is going to have more clout in YouTube land. So it knows it's a legitimate site. It doesn't think it's a spammer. Okay, so I would say verify your site regardless. Number two, your account needs to be in good standing. Most of you guys do have, I don't think any of you guys are spammers. So I'm sure all of you. What if you don't have a cell phone, Heidi? They do house phone. Do you have a house phone? No phone at all. I wonder if they will do Skype. Good question. I haven't been to the page landline. The landline they will call, and it's not a real person. It's a recording. So they'll just say, "Hey, your code is blah 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 blah," and then you just type it in, and that will work fine. Okay, good. Going back to your account needs to be in good standing. You can check if it's in good standing when you log in. You can go to your YouTube settings and look at your features. The features will also tell you if you are verified, and the features will also tell you if you have. Actually, I'll just show it to you. Why don't I just show it to you right now? Here we go. I wasn't going to do this, so it's a little impromptu, but I'll show you right now. Okay, I'm going to. Here we are, features. What I did was on the left-hand side, let me back up. I'll show you really quickly here. Please watch the recording. Don't leave and try fiddling around with this. But when I'm logged in, I'm in my video manager. Okay. And on the left-hand side, there's channel settings. If I click channel settings, it'll show all of my features. See how it says partner verified right here? That means I've verified. I did my verify. Yours will say if it's not verified right here. It'll show your name. It'll say verified. And then it'll say if you're in good standing. Now, what I found is it does help a lot if you have monetization enabled. You don't even need to, actually, you do need it. You need it enabled to get this as well. You don't need to put it on any videos. You do need to put one ad on one video. That's it. You get to choose what video. But other than that, you don't need to put ads if you don't want to. But you need to enable monetization to open up right here. Do you see lower right here? External annotations. That's what you want. You want the green circle. And you won't get that until you have monetization, the verification, and one other thing that I can help you with, and that is actually the associated website process, and that is on another part of the page. I have a video that shows you how to do this, and I can provide the link later on, but it does take a little while. That's why I can't do it tonight, so I apologize for that. But you really should do that, and I can provide the link for that. So let's talk about update number 3. This is a really big deal, and I also put this in a newsletter, but I really want to harp on it. And that's the fact that YouTube has changed what it considers important. Okay. What does that mean? Well, back in the good old days of 2008, 2010, when YouTube was 2 and 4, the number of views was very important. But nowadays, views aren't as important as viewer retention. What does that mean? Well, yes, views are still important. But if you have 1 million views and the people come to your video and they watch it for 3 seconds and then they leave, it's not going to be as good as 5,000 views and somebody watches and those 5,000 people watch the entire video. It's viewer retention. That was just a numbers example. That's not the exact stats. That's not the exact numbers. So don't quote me on that. It could be 500,000 will get you the same if they watch the whole video. I don't know. Nobody knows the algorithm. So it's just an example. But how can video owner know retention stats? Good. Wow. Good question, Chris. I'll answer that in the Q&A because I have to leave the webinar here. Or I don't have to leave the webinar, but I have to go fiddle around a little bit. But a good question. Yes. So all those people out there that are trying to buy views, go right ahead. It's going to help you just a teeny tiny bit because those views are just quick hits and then people leave. So it's not going to be really worth your money or your time. It really is worth your money and time to do it right and do a quality video that only has to be 1 to 2 minutes long with just a nice piece of content. If you keep doing that, that's where YouTube loves you, and they will help promote you, and they will help bump you up. It's all content, and I'll come back to that too. Good question, Chris. I'm going to answer that in the Q&A. But I want to talk about one major mistake, a big mistake, very big mistake. And that's not creating any content. A lot of you guys get on these webinars and you say it's great information and all of that, and it's good, but then there's no action. Now, I do know there's a couple people on here, so I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, in any one person, but you know, this is YouTube, people. This is a very powerful tool. It's not going anywhere. It's owned by the search engines, and good question, Farouk. I'll get to that in a second. But you really need to create content, and I'm going to help you with a plan, and that's part of the freebie that I'm going to give you tonight. Oop, the police are coming. You hear that? I'm gonna give you. That's what it's going to be part of my freebie tonight. I'm going to help you with creating content. So I hope you take advantage of that. So please get creating content, and we're going to talk about what you need to do to improve that. But I want to talk about some big news. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about before we get to the Q&A. Well, I take that back. There's one other thing. It's going to talk about how we can get some help with the annotations and all of that. And I'm also going to start answering questions. But I want to talk about this big news. There is a new video sharing app, and it is taking marketing by storm. It is huge. It is exploding insanely. It's just. Look at me. I'm speechless. Okay. Now, what is this? Before I get into this, I do want to point out a couple things. This is not a YouTube thing. Okay, not a YouTube thing. This is an app. This is for phones. This is for mobile. This is still going to help you. I'll show you how it will help you a lot. It's completely free. The younger generation is picking it up right now, but there is already talk of, CEOs, way up the corporate ladder that are stuck watching this app, at least 30 minutes a day. Marketers are starting to pick up on it, but here's the best part. You guys can get in on the ground floor, and I'm going to show you about that right now. So what is this new video sharing app?